Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be talking through the NBA slate on Draftkings for Friday, December the 30th. We do have a 9-game slate for Friday night, and as always guys, we're going to go game by game. We're going to talk through each one of these 9 games, give you guys my quick early thoughts on the slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Thursday night. And as always, before we get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they help you out, please hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and if you are new to the channel and you have not checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks, use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. For those of you that have never heard about PrizePicks, they're a player prop site. Very simple and easy to use. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. You can see some of the props they already have posted for Friday's games. You can take a look at their board, see if there's anything that stands out to you. I should have a PrizePicks video posted for Friday. Plan on making that video sometime later Thursday night. So check the channel. In a few hours, you should see a PrizePicks video posted, giving out some plays I like for this slate. If you guys want to tell me, if you want to see some plays I like, you can check that video out as well. But again, if you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, get signed up over there. Use that promo code NOAH, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk about this Friday night slate, 9-gamer. We'll start off with the first game of the night, the Wizards and the Magic. And I would say that this is the most kind of interesting game on the slate, because we're going to talk about the Magic here in a second. The Magic are super short-handed. They have like only 8 available players today. A lot of guys got suspended for this game because of an altercation that happened. There's a lot of guys out for Orlando. But starting off with the Wizards, I don't love too much on the Wizards today. Bradley Beal is questionable. He did not play in their last game. They said he was like a game-time decision, or they ruled him out, and then they said he was like a game-time decision. So, I think Beal sat last game because it was a back-to-back. I think he'll probably be back today. And if Bradley Beal plays here, Porzingis, Beal, Kuzma, they all feel priced about right. I will say that, going up against this Magic team that's going to be really short-handed, there's plenty of, upside for these guys, but I don't think really any of them stand out head and shoulders above the rest. Now, if Bradley Beal sits again, then yeah, I think Kuzma and Porzingis would both be viable options. I'd have some interest in them. The rest of the Wizards, though, like Denny Avia, Monte Morris, none of these other guys really stand out. The Wizards they're not a team I've really targeted a ton this season. It's just been when they've been shorthanded. So when they're missing Beal, Porzingis has sat some games this season. I've looked to roster some Wizards those days. Assuming that Beal plays today, I don't love much on the Wizards. Now, for the Magic, I want to talk about them in depth. So they only have 8 available players today. Their 8 available players are going to be Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Markelle Fultz, Bol, Terrence Ross. That should be the starting lineup, I assume, those 5 guys. And then off the bench, they'll have Schofield, Houston, and Harris. They'll have 3 guys available off the bench. So 8 players here for Orlando. Man, you're going to have to look to some Orlando guys today. There's going to be a ton to target here. I would say my favorite play overall from Orlando is probably Bol. Bol is only 4,800. We've seen his minutes be kind of all over the place as of late, but clearly with only 8 available players today, Bol is going to have to play like 28, 30 minutes at least, I'd assume, maybe more. And I think, by some chance, if this game blows out, like if Orlando just can't put up points and they get blown out here, I think Bol would still play in the blowout. I think in a scenario where this game does turn into a blowout, the most likely guys that would get benched would be Banchero, Wagner, and Fultz. I think the blowout lineup would be Bol, Ross, Schofield, Houston, and then Harris. So I feel really good about Bol. I think he's a really good value. I think Banchero at 7,800 is fine. I think he should take on a really big role here, have really good usage. The offense is going to run through him and Markelle Fultz and Franz Wagner. So really, Banchero, Wagner, Fultz, they're all good options as well. Wagner's not a guy that I've played much this season, but man, with the Magic so short-handed today, he should have a really big role, should play good minutes. Price tag at 6,200 is definitely a little bit too cheap. I think Markelle Fultz at 6K looks really solid. He should have a big role, should play good minutes. And then value-wise, if we're looking for really cheap options, Terrence Ross, I think at 3,100 is a pretty good value play here. He's not a guy that I really ever get excited to roster. He's a very scoring-dependent player, but he's going to have to play, and he's going to play good minutes, and he's really cheap. So I definitely have interest in Terrence Ross. And then assuming that Schofield, Houston, and Harris come off the bench, I don't love any of those guys. I think they would still be playable options just because they're going to have to play. But Schofield's not the best per minute producer, so even if he gets 20 minutes, I don't think it's really likely that he puts up a huge game. Houston's not the best per minute producer either, so even if he plays good minutes, 24, 25 minutes, I just don't think he offers a ton of upside. And the Kevon Harris, he's probably my favorite of all the cheap options here. If I was going to take a shot on one of these guys, I think Harris would be my favorite. But really, I'm looking to the starting lineup, assuming that the starting lineup is Banchero, Wagner, Fultz, Bowl, and Ross, assuming those are the 5 starters. I have interest in all 5 of those guys. I think there's going to be a lot to like from this Magic team. Anytime you get in a scenario like this where there's a shortened rotation and the pricing has not adjusted for that, it's going to be in a situation you want to attack, and that's obviously the case here with the Magic guys. Not really being priced up for this. Like Banchero should be like almost 9K. Wagner should be like 7,200. Markelle Fultz should be like 7K. Bowl should be like 6K. I mean, these guys are all underpriced. So lots of like on the Magic here. Going to have to definitely roster multiple Magic on the slate, I would assume. Now moving on to the next game, the Suns and the Raptors. So for the Raptors here, they are on a back-to-back. Fred VanVleet did not play on Thursday night, so we'll have to wait and see if he plays for this game. If VanVleet plays, I don't love much on Toronto just because I think everyone feels priced about right if VanVleet is in. If VanVleet remains out, then I'd be interested in Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG, Gary Trent. Malachi Flynn, I kind of liked as a value play on Thursday after VanVleet got ruled out. Surprisingly, they brought Flynn off the bench. He still played, decent minutes. I think he played like high 20s minutes if I remember correctly. He didn't have like the best game, but I think he'd be someone worth considering. But probably my favorite plays from Toronto if VanVleet is out would probably be OG and Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes had a really good game Thursday. I think he really benefits without VanVleet. He's going to handle the ball more. And then OG is definitely underpriced as well at 6,400. Even Gary Trent coming off the bench, I don't mind at 5K. But assuming that VanVleet is in, the Raptors are probably going to be a team I just kind of like avoid today. And then on the other side with the Suns, no Devin Booker for the Suns, so we can expect a really big role for Chris Paul, for DeAndre Ayton. I don't love this matchup against Toronto, but I think the price tags on Paul and Ayton make them still viable options. Mikal Bridges, I'm probably just going to pass on. The rest of Phoenix, like Torrey Craig, Damian Lee, none of these guys look that great. I know Jock Landale's been starting lately. He hasn't been playing a ton of minutes, though, so even if he starts again, I'm not too excited about him. It's really just like CP3 and Ayton from Phoenix, and that's probably it. And those two guys just kind of look like contrarian GPP plays. So let's move on to the next game, the Lakers and the Hawks. Really excited for this one because I'm actually going to be at this game. And one of the reasons I'm going to have to make my prize pick video tonight is because I'm leaving Friday to go to this game. So really excited for this one. Hopefully it's a good game. I went to the Lakers and Hornets game last year. Unfortunately, LeBron and Anthony Davis both didn't play. I have yet to see, LeBron's my favorite player, and I've yet to see him play. So hopefully he plays today. He's listed as questionable. It's going to be something to monitor. He played both ends of the back-to-back last, they played Tuesday, they played Wednesday. He played both of those games. He's questionable for Friday. Today's actually his birthday as well. I would assume that LeBron plays here. Honestly, I hope he plays because I'm going to the game. And if LeBron plays, I don't really like much on the Lakers besides LeBron. I mean, LeBron's going to have a really big role without Anthony Davis, and I think the $10,100 salary still makes him a pretty appealing option. I don't think Atlanta just doesn't really have anyone to match up with LeBron, and LeBron's a matchup-proof player anyway, but especially if like DeAndre Hunter is out, it's going to be a really tough spot for the Hawks here because, I mean, they're going to have some trouble guarding LeBron without Hunter. Hunter is the guy that I would assume would guard LeBron here if he plays. So definitely interested in LeBron if he's in a scenario where LeBron gets ruled out. Then I'd be interested in guys like Russell Westbrook, looking to a guy like Dennis Schroeder as well. Schroeder and Westbrook would probably be my two favorite plays from the Lakers if LeBron got ruled out. I think Thomas Bryant at 6K is a fine option regardless. He's going to play good minutes. He should play good minutes, I'd assume. With AD still out, the matchup against Atlanta I think is fine, especially without Capella. So don't mind Bryant as kind of a contrarian play. But the value guys like Schroeder, Walker, obviously these guys are really only viable, I think, if LeBron is out. Right now I'm assuming LeBron plays, so I don't love these value guys. Now, on the other side with Atlanta, Trae Young sat the last game for Atlanta, but he's probable, so he's expected back for this one. I think at 9,900, Trae looks like a pretty appealing pay-up option today. I mean, the matchup against the Lakers is really good. Lakers have been playing at a really fast pace this season. Their defense has not been great. I think this should be a fast-paced, high-scoring game in general. As long as the game stays close, we know we're getting really big minutes from Trae Young. So I definitely like Trae today. I think at 9,900, he looks like an appealing pay-up option. DeJounte had a really big game last game, but I think a lot of that kind of had to do with Trae being out. He had obviously amazing usage. He took 26 shots. Can't expect that type of shot volume with Trae back today, but I still think DeJounte is viable just because this game environment should be so good and this game should have so many points scored that I could still see Murray doing well here, but straight up between the two, I do prefer Trae. And then the rest of Atlanta, Bogdan, not super interested in. John Collins and Okongwu, I still have interest in. Both of them should benefit here without Clint Capella. John Collins has been playing really well lately. His minutes have been really good. He got into foul trouble last game. He still played 34 minutes, was really productive. At 5,700, he is still underpriced. So very interested in John Collins, very interested in Onyeka Okongwu. Okongwu avoided foul trouble last game, played 37 minutes, had 43 DK points. As long as he avoids foul trouble here, he should play big minutes. The price tag is still very reasonable at 5,300. So, yeah, man, there's a lot to like in this game. It should be a very fun game. Should be high scoring. And I think there's a lot of plays that stand out here. I would say right now my favorite plays overall are probably John Collins and Okongwu. But LeBron I do have interest in as a pay-up option, assuming he plays. Trae Young I like as a pay-up option as well. But that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the next one, the Pistons and the Bulls. So looking at Chicago here, I normally don't get excited to roster these Chicago guys, but it's such a good matchup against Detroit. Detroit's been like the worst defensive team in the league, or one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season. So I think one of these Chicago guys probably has a good game, whether it's DeRozan, LaVine, or Vooch. I feel like one of them does well here. DeRozan's been like the most consistent of the bunch, and he's provided the most upside as well. His price tag is also up there though at 9,100, but I think DeRozan's probably my favorite of the Bulls guys. I would probably rank them how they're priced. DeRozan first, then LaVine, then Vooch. Really good spot for LaVine. I mean, we've seen guards do really well against Detroit this year, guards that can score. We know LaVine offers that kind of scoring upside. He hasn't flashed a ton of upside this season, but he can have those games where he does get hot, and obviously against a Pistons team that plays no defense, it's definitely a good matchup for Zach LaVine. And no issue going to Vooch either. I think Vooch is in a pretty good spot. I think at 7,600, he's a viable option too. The rest of Chicago, though, probably going to pass on here. Patrick Williams is questionable, so this will be something to monitor. He has been playing pretty big minutes lately, so there would be some minutes available if Williams got ruled out. Kobe White, I think, is questionable too, and I think Caruso is questionable as well. So this Chicago team actually could be pretty short-handed. Caruso's probable, so he should be back, but they could be without Kobe White. They could be without Patrick Williams, so you could see more minutes for, obviously Ayo and Caruso would play more. If Kobe White got ruled out, you could see more minutes for Goran Dragic. I'd assume like Javonte Green would probably get the start if he were to play, and obviously if Patrick Williams got ruled out. So like if Patrick Williams sits and Javonte Green starts, I mean he's 3K. He's not a great per minute producer, but he would definitely be someone worth considering for value if he did wind up starting here. But I think right now the Chicago team, looking at the Bulls, the best guys to target here are the main guys, DeRozan, Vooch, LaVine, and I think I'd rank them how they're priced. Now on the Detroit side, I don't really like much on the Pistons here. I do want to mention that Killian Hayes is going to be out for this game. He did get suspended. He was involved in that suspension with those Magic guys. So with Killian Hayes out, my guess is that we see Corey Joseph start at point guard. Corey Joseph, not the best per minute producer. Even if he starts today, I would not be like super excited to roster him. I think last time he started, he played like a ton of minutes and he did like nothing. There was one game I want to say, it was this Atlanta game. He played 32 minutes. I know he started this game, and he put up 14 Draftkings points. Now, Corey Joseph has had some good games in the past when he started, but he's never been like a great permanent producer. I think he would be a playable value, though, just because he's going to play solid minutes and he's minimum salary. So I did want to mention him as a value play with Hayes out. I think Hayes being out does benefit Jaden Ivey as well. I think at 5,900, Jaden Ivey's a solid mid-range play. Jalen Duren's just been dominating on the glass. He's been just grabbing every rebound possible. His minutes have been really good as well. I think at 5,400, he still looks like a decent play. I don't really ever get excited about the Pistons, but I think there's a couple guys that do look solid here. Ivy, Duren, and then assuming Kojo starts for 3K, I have some interest in Joseph for value. But that probably does it for Detroit. I think that kind of covers everything that I like there. So let's move on to the next game. Talk about the Timberwolves and the Bucks. So looking at the Bucks today, once again, I think we can expect a really big role for Giannis, and I made Giannis the thumbnail for today. Drew Holiday's doubtful. Chris Middleton's out. Giannis, last game with both those guys out, put up 84 Draftkings points, had 45 points, 22 rebounds, 7 assists, played 42 minutes in overtime. He took 39 shots last game. I mean, I know, Minnesota's got some good defenders. Gobert can clog the paint. Jaden McDaniels is a good defender, but Giannis is a matchup-proof player. His usage rate is going to be massive here. At 11,900, I still think Giannis looks like a great option today. He should be like 13K right now. Without Giannis and without Drew and Middleton, Giannis should be like 13K. Like, he's still too cheap. So really, really like Giannis. Then the rest of the Bucks, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, they're fine options. I don't love Portis at 6,300, but he should get like 24, 25 minutes off the bench, and we know Portis can produce when he gets minutes. Brook Lopez played pretty good minutes last game, 37 minutes in overtime, had 32 DK points. I think at 6,100, he's a okay option in the mid-range. And then Javon Carter wound up starting last game, but he really didn't do anything. He played 25 minutes, only had 8 Draftkings points. Javon Carter has not been great as a starter when he's played with Giannis or with Middleton or with Drew. Carter's been really productive when all those guys are out. So like when he's playing with Giannis, his per minute production is not the best. I'm not super interested in Javon Carter today, even if he starts again. And then Pat Connaughton was a really chalky value play last slate, and he was a massive bust. Only played 21 minutes, had just 10 Draftkings points. I would expect Connaughton to play better here. I think the matchup's solid against Minnesota. I know Minnesota gives up a lot of three-point attempts, and that's obviously where Connaughton does a lot of his damage. He's also a good rebounder, and Minnesota plays at a fast pace, so there should be some rebound opportunities for Connaughton here. At 4,200, I'm fine going back to him as a value play. He should be much lower owned than he was last slate, and I think we could definitely see like some flop lag here. I would not be surprised to see Connaughton bounce back today. So am interested in him as a value play. And then on the other side with Minnesota, don't love much on Minnesota today. I think Anthony Edwards at 9,300 is a contrarian GPP play. Matchup against the Bucks is not great. The Bucks are a really good defensive team, but obviously without Drew, their defense does tail off a little bit. Javon Carter still is a good defender, but I think Edwards is fine. Not a standout play, but he's playable. Russell and Gobert at their price tags, I don't love. Gobert, this matchup against Milwaukee is definitely tough. Milwaukee's a team that defends the paint really well. They block a lot of shots, so like it's hard for Gobert to really dominate in this matchup when Brook Lopez is clogging the paint, Giannis is clogging the paint. Tough spot for Gobert. Not super interested in him. The rest of Minnesota, I'm probably going to pass on. I think Minnesota doesn't look that appealing today, but if I had to play anyone on this team, probably would be Anthony Edwards if I had to play anyone. But let's move on to the next game, the Sixers and the Pelicans. So looking at the Pelicans today, still no Brandon Ingram. We can expect a big role for Zion, big role for CJ McCollum. I think CJ McCollum at 8,700 is priced correctly. I think Zion at 9,800 still looks solid. I mean, first game back from his illness or whatever last game, and Zion played 34 minutes, was really productive, had 56 Draftkings points. He's just been so good as of late. He's been playing at an elite level. 9,800 I think is still a reasonable price tag for Zion. So Zion's the one guy that I do like from the Pelicans today. I don't like much from this team, though, besides Zion. Don't love the spot for J-Val going up against Embiid, and I think there's some foul trouble risk as well. Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall, like none of these guys stand out at their price tags. And then on the other side with the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey is probable for today, so he is expected back. With Tyrese Maxey expected to be back, that does lower my interest a little bit in guys like Harden and Embiid, just because I think they do take a little bit of a usage hit with Maxey back, pretty much off of Harris, off of Melton. Embiid's been playing like at an MVP level, so even with Maxey coming back, I think Embiid can still put up a big game here. The matchup I think is fine for him, so like I don't mind going to Embiid. Harden I'm a little bit iffy on though, especially with Maxey back. I think he does take a little bit of a hit. Maxey's a guy that can handle the ball a lot. He can take assist opportunities away from Harden, so not super interested in Harden, but I still think Embiid's fine. That's pretty much it from the Sixers though. That's really the only thing I'm interested in from this team. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game. We got 3 more games to hit, guys. So Miami and Denver. We'll start off on the Denver side. Nikola Jokic at 11,800. Look, I never have an issue going to Jokic. I think this is definitely a tougher spot against Miami. Miami's a good defensive team, and especially against centers, they've done a really good job limiting center production this season. A lot of that's been due to Bam's defense. Jokic is a matchup-proof player, and he can dominate in any matchup, but this is not the best spot for Jokic, so kind of off Jokic today. I would rather play Giannis. I think I'd rather play some other guys we talked about, so not super interested in him, but I do want to mention that Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are both questionable. They were both out last game. I assume Jamal Murray will play today. He missed last game because it was the second night of a back-to-back. I think he should be back today. I think Aaron Gordon probably returns as well. So if these guys do return, there's really nothing that stands out from Denver. Jokic is playable, but that's pretty much it. Do want to mention, though, that Michael Porter Jr. has been playing a lot better as of late. He's really struggled this season, but the last few games he started to find a groove. And in a scenario where Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray remain out, I would be very interested in Michael Porter Jr. at 6,100. We saw him get 35 minutes last game, even on the second night of a back-to-back. So minutes should be good. Production would obviously greatly increase if Murray and or Gordon are out. So do want to mention MPJ as an option just because he would stand out if those guys do wind up sitting. But for now, I think we kind of have to assume that Murray and Gordon are going to be back. But that's pretty much it for Denver. I don't see much from Denver outside of those guys. And then obviously, if Jamal Murray does sit again, if Bruce Brown does sit again, Bones Highland would be a really good play. He put up 45 Draftkings points in 33 minutes last game. Obviously, he started, played really well, played good minutes too. I think Jamal and Bruce Brown probably return today, but if they somehow remain out, then yeah, Bones Highland would be a great play at 5K. But on the other side with Miami, I don't really like much on Miami today. Jimmy Butler, I think, is probable, so he's expected to play. Everyone on Miami feels priced about right. 9,200 for Jimmy, 9K for Hero, 8,500 for Bam, 6,900 for Lowry. Like, there's just nothing that I love on this Miami team. I think if I had to play anyone here, it would probably be Jimmy, but I think I'm just gonna full fade Miami, at least like if I was playing one lineup. Now, if you're playing 150 lineups, yeah, you can sprinkle a lot of these guys in. You could sprinkle in some Butler, sprinkle in some Bam, but for me as a guy that just plays one lineup, I doubt anyone on Miami makes my one lineup. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Portland and Golden State. So for Golden State today, they're still missing Steph, still missing Andrew Wiggins, but they obviously will have Klay back for this game. Jordan Poole's 8,200, Klay's 7,100. Clearly, both these guys are going to have really big roles, going to play good minutes, going to get really good usage. I think at their price tags, they still look like solid options. If I had to choose between the two, I think I'd take the savings and play Klay, but it's definitely close. I think Poole and Klay are both viable here. The rest of Golden State, though, I'm not super interested in. Dante DiVincenzo is probable, so he should play, but his price tag at 6,200 feels right. Draymond Green is, I think, probable as well. He should play. His price tag, though, at 6K feels about right. Rest of Golden State, pretty much, not interested in, so it's really just Klay and Poole from the Warriors that I have some interest in today. And then on the other side with Portland, Damian Lillard, I think at 9,700 is a fine pay-up option today. I think I would probably rather go to like LeBron and Trey and Giannis, but I don't have an issue with Dame. Dame's been playing really well lately. I think this matchup against Golden State's fine. They'll probably put like Dante DiVincenzo on him, but that's definitely a matchup that Dame can exploit. And obviously, Golden State plays at a fast pace, so I think this fast-paced game environment does set up pretty well for Dame. Dame is the one guy that I do like from Portland. Grant, though, at his price tag, the rest of these guys where their price at, I don't love. Nurkic is a guy that I always have some interest in. He just has so much upside, and we saw him go absolutely nuclear against Charlotte last game. This is not nearly as good of a matchup as it was last game against Charlotte, but 6,700 is still kind of cheap for Nurkic. If he does play like anywhere near 36 minutes again, he's got 45, 50-point upside. So like behind Dame, I would say that Nurkic is like my second favorite play. But that'll do it for Portland. I don't see too much else I really like here. So let's talk about the last game of the night, the Jazz and the Kings. So looking at the Kings today, Domantas Sabonis at 10,300. Really, really like Sabonis here. Wish he was a little bit cheaper, but man, the matchup is so good. Utah has been getting killed by centers this season. They give up a lot of points in the paint. They struggle to rebound. And Sabonis has just been dominating as of late. He's been stuffing the stat sheet, doing everything, rebounding at an elite level, getting a ton of assists, scoring as well. Really like Sabonis today. I don't think there's anything negative you can say about him. It's just that there's a lot of other pay-up options on this slate. You have Giannis, you have LeBron, you have Trey. But I would definitely put Sabonis up there with those guys. He looks really good. Have a lot of interest in him. I think De'Aaron Fox at 8,700 is fine, but I'm not as interested in Fox. The rest of Sacramento, I'm not super interested in. Herter, Barnes, Malik Monk. None of these guys look that great at their price tags. Sabonis is, I think, the clear standout play from Sacramento. And then on the Utah side, Lauri Markkanen been super, super consistent this season. I think 8,400 is an appropriate price tag for him, but he's been crushing as of late, over 55 DK points in back-to-back games. Matchup against the Kings, I think, is definitely favorable. So Markkanen's playable. He feels priced correctly, though. Like, I don't think he's going to continue to put up over 50 Draftkings points every night, but he has upside. He's going to get a lot of usage with this Jazz team, and the production's been there. He's definitely in play. The rest of Utah, though, I don't love. There's really not too much else that stands out from this Jazz team, I think, other than Markkanen. Jordan Clarkson at 7K feels priced correctly. Same with guys like Olynyk and Vanderbilt. Mike Conley's super cheap, but it's just been so tough to predict what you're going to get from Mike Conley. One game he puts up 40 fantasy points. The next game he puts up 20. He has played good minutes lately. He's played 33 and 32 minutes in back-to-back games. So, if we get like 32 minutes from Mike Conley at 5,100, he could be an okay value. I don't love him, but I think he's playable. But that'll probably do it for this game, guys. I think Sabonis is like the standout play in that game. But that's it for that one, and that's it for the 9 games on this Friday night slate. So, as always, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button down below. If you have not yet, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But I appreciate you watching these videos, guys. Appreciate your support. Hope you guys enjoy all the DFS content I do put out there. Hope these videos help. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.